All right, guys. So I hope everyone doing great today. Hi, everyone. How are you? Very good evening. Very good evening, all. Okay. Hi, RK. Welcome to the club. RK, please mute yourself. All right. Okay. So everyone join. Okay. So we are going to start doing discussion very interesting. That is a Palo Alto. So what I'm going to talk about. That's more about the practical. I'm going to talk. Let's suppose you have to deploy the any firewalls. So what is the step-by-step process? What is the structure process is going to happen to deploy that firewall? Give me 1 second. So let's suppose you have to deploy any firewall. So what is the step-by-step process? You can deploy the firewall, especially we're going to talk about the Palo Alto firewall. But before I'm going to explain this Palo Alto firewall deployment process, we have to understand what is a firewall and why we need a firewall. That's our key discussion is going to happen today. So I'm going to explain the requirement of the firewall, type of the firewall, that is going to be your hardware type of the firewall, software type of the firewalls. And these firewalls are going to be required everywhere. Let's suppose if you have any computers, any kind of the mobile devices, any kind of the enterprise network, any kind of cloud network, this firewall is going to be required everywhere. And this is very important nowadays. If you're not going to use the firewall, what kind of challenges your network is going to face, what kind of challenge your PC is going to face. Guys, please mute yourself. I request everyone. What kind of challenges your other digital media devices are going to face, that also we have to understand. So one of the key pillar or the key requirement nowadays is a firewall, and firewall is everywhere. Once you have the network is basically you connecting one computer to another computer. That's one network. You connecting one mobile to the internet, printer, that is also one network. You connected the multiple devices together, that is going to be network. So till the time your network is going to stay within the home, within the house, within the office, it is going to be secure. Not 100% secure because we have the insider attacks as well sometimes. So I will talk about what is insider attack. But technically it is going to be secure, and because it's not having any exposure of the outside of the home, outside of the offices, so you're probably not going to be connect your devices to the internet unless or until you not have any connectivity to the internet. Your network is also going to be always going to be an isolated infrastructure. If it is an isolated infrastructure, nobody is sitting on the internet can understand what is running inside of the infrastructure. If they are not able to run any kind of the attack, then definitely you are going to be always safe. So the moment you are going to connect your devices on the internet, you having a very high risk, you having a very high kind of the chance somebody is going to do attack on your network. So you required something to protect those kind of attacks, and that's why firewall is going to come in a picture, right? So major incident which is happening, cyber security incident, that all coming for the internet. Rare we have the internal attacks as well. Sometimes we have the insider attack. So I will discuss how the insider attack is going to happen. Let's suppose what is insider attack. In your company, you have a 2000 employee, 200 employee, 20,000 employee. You cannot monitor every employee activities. They all are inside a company, but they might be going to be still some data. They are going to be leak some data from your company to some USB drive. That is also kind of the loss for you. The moment you are going to lose your critical file from your internet infrastructures, means any kind of server to the internet infrastructure, or might be the USB drive, that is going to be lose your project informations, confidential information. Your computer might be going to be get your client information. So that is going to be again problem for you. So how you are going to protect your all infrastructure? That's again is that one challenge where firewall is going to be required, and firewall is going to do a lot of things. So let me say my screen, guys, and we'll discuss step by step all the process, how firewall is going to look like, how firewall is going to be deployed, how firewall is going to be configured, and what is the firewall. Okay, so let me share. If you guys see my screen, just let me know. You able to see my screen? Everyone? Okay, that's good. You guys able to see my screen. All right. So there are some firewalls, right? You can see there's a master lab. Probably we'll do some chit chat about this master lab. But let me quickly go and see my Okay, for some reason this is not opening. Okay, let me restart this. Okay, so might be stop this device. I want to
Oh,
stop.
I got meeting. Be careful.
Okay, okay. Mohammed, who told that? I'm not sure. So this is one of the master lab guys, master lab, which I'm going to use in this batch. And this is a new lab we deployed, and we never used in the any past. And this lab we deploy for the corporate trainings. Okay. So why this lab is deployed in this way? There is a special reason because we are developing one of the lab guide, and this lab guide is going to be covered end to end. Let's suppose you're a beginner, you're just a fresher, and somebody asks you to just do the all deployment. So it is going to be kind of the hand holding situations in corporate. Basically we require that, where what is the first command I need to run this particular router, second command on the firewalls, third command on the management PC and all. So we are covering each and everything. So most of the labs, like you can see in these labs, I'm just giving the brief idea so you guys can understand. In this lab, what all we are going to cover. We have the vWire lab. This is the vWire lab, right? In this lab, we have the Global Protect lab. You can see here. In this lab, we have the AD integrations that is also there, right? This lab, we have all type of NAT and policy and routing. So everything is going to be there. Means the static routing. We have the dynamic routing, different lab. I'm going to discuss about that. So you are going to do almost 60 to 70% lab in these sections. Rest 30% labs we are going to do in the different, because we have the topology constraint. So let's suppose you want to do the advanced routing. So this is a dedicated lab for the advanced routing. We'll do the deployment for the BGP, OSPF, IBGP creation and all. So that is a different lab. Similarly for the side-to-side VPN, we cannot integrate that. So we deploy the side-to-side VPN. So we are completely changing the lab infrastructure because we want to go for the corporate level delivery. So that's why we are changing this lab. So it's going to be very aligned for the any public batch and corporate also. And similarly for the any kind of the HA, that is also going to be revised. This lab HA is also going to be revised. So I will do some most what I can say uh, mostly all discussion I'm going to talk about this labs when I'm going to start that, except the day zero deployment. So I will explain a step by step process how it is going to be look like, and what is the logic behind this lab, how and what is the right way to start doing the configuration about this labs. Okay. So meanwhile, this firewall is getting ready. The agenda is what is a firewall and why you need a firewall. So let me bring the slides and then we can proceed with that. In case anyone have any questions, guys, please raise your hand and ask your questions. I will give chance to ask your questions. So don't hesitate for anything. Okay. So I'm going to start with this history of the firewall. This is the very first thing I will discuss. Then I will discuss what is a firewall, different model of the firewall. So I'll briefly discuss about that. Already I discussed in the our previous discussion. So just an idea. If you talk about the Palo Alto Firewall, it was founded in 2005 by the Nirjuk, who was the ex-employee or might be the former CEO or co-founder of the your Checkpoint Firewall. So he get every detail from the Checkpoint, and subsequently he built a very good product as a Palo Alto Firewall. And since 2005, it's a very popular product in the market. And this product, very first product developed by the Palo Alto, and after that there are the multiple product available in the market. So I will discuss those product, what are the multiple product available in the market, but for time being we are focusing on the Palo Alto firewall. This headquarter is the California, Santa Carla, and US based company, but they have the across the globe offices available, and they are just dealing with a lot of product for the different customer, enterprise customer, including every sectors like FMCG, banking, healthcare, right? Any automations, automobile, everything is going to be included. And even for the small companies, mid-range of company, they are availing the product to just secure their infrastructure. So why firewall? And why the importance of firewall? That we have to understand. So if I talk about the what is the need of the firewall, I just wanted to understand. Anyone seen the firewalls in ever in your life? Just raise your hand if you seen or give me a thumbs up. You guys seen firewalls in your entire journey? How firewall is going to look like? Anyone? Yeah, Nilesh can see. What about Gaurav can see? Okay. Only two people have seen the firewall. Raghavendra have seen the firewall. All right. Okay, so very few have seen the firewalls. All right. So I will try to show the firewall, physical firewall I have in front of me, and I will set up one of the setup in the digital available in the backside. I have the major camera on the front as well. So I will show the step-by-step process. Arun also taken this means have seen this firewall. So I will show you how to take the firewall console, how to take the GUI access. That all is going to happen in the live because I have the physical firewall and actually this firewall available with us in our data center. So this is the Palo Alto 820 firewall. So I will show you this firewall is going to look like in this way. But we have to understand why we need a firewall. So if I talk about in any company, if you're going to deploy the firewall solution, so there is a requirement. You have to understand that requirement. So in company, we have the floors, multiple floor, might be a single floor. This let's suppose your office, okay, and we have different floor. This office having a kind of the different users. These are different PC. I'm just going to draw here. There the PC is going to be look like this one, right? Might be you have a servers, right? These servers. You can just connect these servers. So I can put as a my this is going to be or let me write it by hand. So it is going to be not take too much time. So I can put as a oh sorry. This is going to PC, 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 PC, S1, S2, S3. So just minor deployment, we have the simple deployment. Now these devices are going to connect with the switch. Okay, this is a switch. So generally we connect all the devices. It's a very basic example, guys. Don't take seriously. I just wanted to explain how things is going to look like. Now this going to connect with a router. Okay. This router is further going to connect with the any ISP. So if you have any kind of the ISP network, think about this is the your AT&T circuit, ADT circuit. So this is going to connect with the ISP. And they want to access some website like google.com, right? They want to access yahoo.com. They want to access like Instagram. They want to access some file server, etc. Anything they can access by setting on these locations. So your traffic is going to come from this way and it's going to the router and it's going to the internet. In this situation, do you have any problem? The answer is no. There is no problem. You can communicate to the internet. In terms of the network connectivity point of view, if I talk about network connectivity point of view, there is no problem. You can easily communicate to the internet. But what is the challenge? These devices only understand, if I talk about the router and switch, they understand means in OSI model, we have model 7 layer. Okay. I'm talking from the very basic guys. So in OSI model, if we learn about that, we have the application layer, we have the presentation layer, and we have the session layer, we have the transport layer, we have the network layer, we have the data link layer, and we have the physical layer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Total have the 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. These are the layers available in the OSI. So my packet have to process with the all layers to go on the any kind of destinations. But this OSI is just a your blueprint, not OSI layer is going to use for the actual data communications. Which layer is going to use for actual data communication? Anyone know that? Anyone know which layer we means which model we use for the data communication? OSI or some other model?
TCP.
TCP/IP. That's right. TCP/IP is actual model which is going to use for the any data communications. So in TCP/IP, we have only 4 layers. we are going to combine this upper layer as an application layer, right? And then we have the transport layer, then we have the network layer, then we have the data link, then we have the physical layer. This is the only 5 layer available for TCP/IP. So in terms of the layer, if I talk about my routers, router can understand and process the packet for the layer 3. And what is the layer 3? That is a network layer. And if I talk about the switch, if switch is going to deploy in the layer 2 mode, they can only understand the data link, that is the MAC address. This understand the IP address. But if you're going to deploy the switch as a layer 3 also, so it can understand the IP as well. So switch is optional, which mode you are going to deploy, and according to that, they're going to be just process your packet. So generally they do the your packet processing based on the layer 2 and layer 3. This is the only two things they have. Some extent we can use for the layer 4 as well. Let's suppose you want to block some TCP port like for telnet, SS. Please mute. iPhone, who joined with the name of the iPhone? Please mute yourself. What's your name? iPhone? आप नाम बता दीजिए. I will rename for you. iPhone, what's your name?
Tapaswani.
Sorry?
Tapaswani.
Okay, Tapaswani. Welcome to the class, Tapaswani. Tapaswani. I don't know. Tapaswani. I put the right name or wrong name. Sorry if I put the wrong spelling for your name. All right, that's fine. So we have this architecture, and this you can see. Generally, we can do the MAC based communication, we can do IP based communication, we can do the port based communications. And most of the cyber attack are not going to happen on these layers. Nowadays, if you see about cyber attacks are happening, most of the time is going to be your application layer. Most of the time, applications. How the applications? If I go on the internet, if I'm the hacker, okay, I will try to attack on your some web servers applications. If you're trying to download some kind of the Google based file, might be going to download via the any kind of the bad links. You clicking on any bad links, and those bad links are going to be, just going to be download some kind of a virus attachment, and that is going to be again harm your system. That is going to be lateral movement, means one system is going to be infect another system, that is going to infect your servers, one server another server. So it is going to be just spread around your LAN infrastructure. So many times you have seen you are getting a phishing email. What is a phishing email? When somebody is going to give the lucrative offer to you, hey, you have the certain Netflix subscription free for 6 months, 2 years, just click on the link, you are going to get free subscriptions. The moment you're going to click on that particular link, that is a actually phishing email, and your computer might be going to be compromised. Your software, one of the bad software is going to install your system, and they're going to take remote access of your systems. So if that kind of activity is going to be happen from the internet to your LAN, these devices are incapable to protect such kind of the behaviors, because they are never going to understand what type of traffic is coming, how the traffic is coming, from where traffic is coming, because they not have the capabilities. If let's suppose if I'm understanding the Hindi language, right, or English language, and somebody going to speak in Chinese or some other French language, can I understand? No, it's not going to be make sense to me anything. Even they are abusing me, they are just trying to defame me, they're just trying to blame me. I don't have sense to understand they're talking about me, because I don't have any kind of idea. Similarly, routers, switches are basically dumb device. They are just understand the packets. Packet basically MAC address, IP address, some extent of the port number. So they are not going to understand anything. So if I have to protect anything apart from the MAC, right, IP, then how I can do that? So if I want to do some port level, protocol level protections, I want to do some kind of URL level, application level, right? I want to do some URL, right? I want to do some content. Content is basically your actual data. Actual data, most of the time, we are going to face a lot of cyber attack from the actual data. Actual data, like any attachment, right? You're going to get any attachment. You're going to get any files, right? Kind of Excel, Word file, could be anything you're going to get. So these are going to be your actual nightmare where going to be most of the time cyber attack is going to happen. So to protect this cyber attack, we have to bring someone that is going to be capable to understand all layer of informations. And that is where a device has been invented, and that is known as a firewall. Okay. So firewall, if you talk about this firewall is going to be classified into two types of the firewalls. If I talk about the firewall, this has been classified into two types of firewalls. So one firewall you're going to learn that is going to be stateless firewall. Okay. Another firewall is going to be for the stateful firewall. Right. So stateful firewall also known as a next generation firewall. Okay. So what is the difference between these two? We also have to understand. So if I talk about the stateless firewall, this is our old firewall, right? And you're not going to find this firewall in the market. Not available. Unless or until you are the very old customer running the old firewall in your system, you are not going to find. There's a new firewall you are going to get everywhere. This kind of the firewall nowadays deployment, even for the on premises, right? In the cloud infrastructure, any other deployment you have, you are always going to deploy this kind of the firewall. That is a new firewall, next generation firewall. So stateless firewall was a firewall. They have a limitations. They like with router switch and the other devices. They can do the MAC basis filtering. They can do the IP basis filtering, and they can do the port numbers. What is a MAC? This is the basically layer 2 inspections. Okay. This can do the layer 2 inspections. This can do your layer 3 inspection. Okay. They can also do for the your layer 4 inspection. So this,
Pankaj,
yes.
router ACFs can be treated as a stateless firewall.
Yeah, router, that's I told you. Router also have the means, even you have seen many of the Cisco router, they come with the module of the firewall module. You have seen Cisco router. So router also can do some extent of the, stateless firewall kind of the, traffic inspections, but they are going to be, if you're going to use router for the your firewall inspection, kind of firewall inspection as a, your routing performance is going to be degraded. So it's not recommended to use as a router, but you can do that. So that's why some model, let's suppose I'm the small customer, I want to deploy the firewall and I don't have the budget to purchase the firewall. So the Cisco offer that some routers where we can integrate the object, means the cards, that cards are going to be give that object firewall feature. That is a stateless firewall feature. So that is a, you can take an example as a firewall. Okay. Who was that?
Yeah, Pankaj.
Okay. Thank you. So you can do that kind of inspection, and these inspections are basically just for the stateless firewall. But when I talk about the stateful firewall, guys, if I talk the stateful firewall is a something new firewall. They can understand MAC, that is a layer 2, right? They can understand IP, that is a layer 3. Okay, that is going to understand the port, that is a layer 4, right? That is going to be understand the application, that is the layer 7. So they understand all layer, but it's not going to end here. When it is of that, right? Let me put it here. Plus, what they do that? They can do the URL filtering. They can do the web filtering. The same URL filtering, web filtering, the same meaning, right? They can do the content inspection, right? Data filtering, content inspections, right? They can do the SSL inspection. Okay. They can do some kind of the, user AD integration, AD based inspection, right? You can do the device level, means if you have to inspect with a device base like Lenovo device, HP device, device model, device OS. So device base inspection, right? They can do that. Location based inspection, they can do that. They have a lot of features available. If I show you, let me just try to show you. If this firewall is ready, I can just show you something. Let me try to log in and then I will try to show you some demo as well in parallel so you can understand. And then we can summarize that what is a firewall. Still we not summarize, we are just talking something here and there. So let me log in from here. This is my management PC. Let me, okay, sorry. Let me clear the drawing. I can just log in this firewall.
Pankaj, this is the new firewall, huh? Without any configuration.
There are some configuration, but I can show you new firewall also. I'm just giving the demo. You guys are not going to do any kind of the preloaded configuration firewall for your lab. It's going to be completely blank. Even I start the lab, I will do the blank firewall configuration. There is no any configuration is going to be there. But this is just a POC lab, so there might be some configuration is going to be there. Okay. So if you go here and check that, if you go in the policies, see, so I'm just giving the sample policy. This firewall have a lot of configuration. So you see here, we not limited to source address, not IP address, okay? Not limited to the application, even L4. These are the L4 detail. Along with you can see source user, that is the AD based integration. Source device means any machine type you want to filter that. Device is basically any vendor, any OS family, vendor model number. It's all possible you can do that. Similar destination device also we have application that is a layer 7. We have the services that is a layer 4. We have the URL category. We can integrate the content inspection, that is a database inspection. Like in data, if I want to integrate any kind of the antivirus, vulnerability protections, anti-spyware, URL filtering, file blocking, data filtering, this all are going to be there, right? And also you can integrate the QoS, you can just capture the logs. So we can do a lot of things. So that is what I was talking here. If you talk about the stateful firewall, guys, stateful firewall is a new firewall, next generation firewall, which having the more and more feature as compared to the stateless firewall. So this firewall you are not going to find anywhere in the market nowadays, but we are going to find this firewall everywhere in the market. So anything you want to inspect, not like a switch and router, you can just do this all via this particular firewall. And this firewall is basically not only Palo Alto firewall. Palo Alto is a NGFW firewall, that is one firewall, right? NGFW firewall. And that's why you guys are going to become a Palo Alto NGFW certified engineer, right? FortiGate also have this NGFW firewall. FortiGate also have, right? NGFW. This next generation firewall. Checkpoint also have this NGFW, right? Other vendor also, Cisco also nowadays NGFW firewalls. The Cisco abilities is NGFW firewalls. So these all are going to be there, and you can do the similar thing what you can do from the your Palo Alto. Now, so that's one different stateful and a stateless. They are the more inspection. What else they have? So if I talk about the stateless inspection, so what happened? In the stateless inspection, whenever the firewall is going to receive a packet, they are going to maintain some sort of the ACLs. Means predefine you are going to create ACL, that is known as access control list. Okay, based on these ACLs, your packet is going to process. Means your firewall is going to create ACL. Means being a network security engineer, you are going to create a ACL, create access control list. And based on that access control list, every time your packet is going to hit to the firewall, and based on that, you're going to process to the internet. But in the your NGFW, we are going to use the policy. Policy is going to be created by you, being a network security engineer. That is going to be created by a user. The policy is going to be created. And after creating this policy, definitely you are going to match. If you're going to access any kind of destination, subnet, or URL, any kind of the other cloud applications, always you're going to check the policy. But policy is also going to create another table that is known as session table. Okay, so this is going to known as a session table, or you can just put as a state table, right? State table, cassette table, whatever you want to put, you can just put it. That means if you connect with any kind of the destination, any very first of the time, in that case, what is going to happen? Your firewall is going to make sure that you are going to maintain one of the state table. After that state table, you are going to be just maintain some kind of the source, destination, port detail, IP address, and anytime the firewall is going to process to that destination, not going to hit your policy every time. It is going to just hit your policy first time. After that, it is going to refer the session table. So I will discuss in very detail how the session table is going to look like. As a demo, if you want to see that, if I go in the firewall, in this firewall, let me show one of the session table. So if I go in this particular my firewall, show session all. So you can see we have these state tables. This is session table, YouTube, window, push, web browsing. This all is showing as a state table. So this is basically one of the examples. But this is a firewall as a stateless firewall. This is not going to be there anything as a state table. You're not going to find as a state table. It's simply going to be always ACL is going to be it. So let me give you another example so you guys can understand in more better way. Suppose this is my one of the example. This is my one of the firewall. Okay. And this is the internet. This is connected. Please mute somebody, have some background noise. This is the user. This user wanted to go on the internet. We have the ACL here. So every time when user is going to happen, ACL is going to check go on the internet. Every time the user is going to come, ACL is going to go in the internet. So if this 1,000 times this user is going to internet, 1,000 times my ACL is going to be created, and based on that your communication is going to happen on the internet. This is how you are going to be happen in case of the your ACL. But if I talk about my stateless firewall, this is stateless firewall. If I talk the stateful firewall, this is nothing going to be happening like that. What is going to happen in that case? In that case, let's suppose a stateful firewall. Again, I have the same scenario. I have to go on the internet. I have this my firewall. Okay, I have this my PC. This want to go internet, so definitely there is a policy is going to be created. So very first time this user want to go on the internet, it is going to hit the policy and go on the internet. At the same time, when the policy is going to be hit, they will maintain one of the table that is a session table. So when the next time this user want to go on the internet, it is going to hit the session, go on the internet. It will go on the internet, keep going on the internet by referring the sessions. So this is how it is going to happen, guys. Okay. So if I talk about any stateful firewall is going to maintain always a state, but a stateless firewall is not going to maintain any state. Always going to hit your ACLs and then it is going on the internet. But a stateful firewall is going to be always maintain the state, which is going to help your performance. It is going to help your, not go and check again your policy to just, verify the connections. So this is the key difference. Now, if I talk about now back to the any questions, meanwhile, I'll go next. Anyone have any questions here?
Yeah, Pankaj. Pankaj, how much time the sessions table stores the information about a particular connection?
So it depends, right? It depends. Very good question. So it depends. We have the multiple type of sessions. We have the ICMP sessions. We have a TCP sessions. We have the UDP sessions, right? So every sessions have the different timers. So by default, TCP sessions, we have 3600 timers, right? But other having might be 30 seconds also. So you can just check this session detail from here. You just go here, devices, okay, and go in the setup, click on the setup and go in the session, okay?
Yeah.
And see here, if you have a TCP session, it's going to be 3600 seconds. So I believe it's how many minutes? 60 minutes? Mm, it's going to be 60 minutes, right?
16,
This is
yeah.
one thing, right? But if you have the any kind of ICMP, it's a 6 second only. Okay. If you have UDP, it's a 30 seconds only. Clear? So you can just get this details available here for the session.
Yeah.
So TCP is going to be always longer session. Rest is going to be shorter session. ICMP is just 6 seconds.
So after this timeout, again, the policy will be checked.
So let's suppose this client is talking on the internet. Uh, Give me 1 second. Take an example. This client is talking on the internet, google.com. Okay. But after some time, he discontinued the browser. So your session is going to available till 3600 seconds, 60 minutes till here. Within 60 minutes, he is going to be again communicate google.com. He is going to use the same session. After 60 minutes, he is going to communicate. Then he need to again create a new session. It is going to flush out. Make sense?
Yeah, Pankaj. So
Okay.
once sessions timeouts, firewall checks the policy once again for the new session.
Right. If timeout is going to happen, then it's going to be checked again. Any other questions?
Yes, sir. I have actually two questions here. Sir, as you told that stateless firewall was only checking the network layers and the layer 4, only the layer 4 means network layers and the layer 4 transport layer.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, my next generation firewall is not only checking layer 3 and layer 4, it's also checking with the application and web filtering, all the things.
Right.
Then, sir, after that also, why company are using proxy? Because proxy also used for only the web filtering application wise.
Okay, that's a very good question. Okay, so all right, so see, I can discuss this. So might be people are very confused about that proxy and the firewalls. So there's no proxy. Proxy has been totally changed nowadays. Proxy solutions, if you just talk about that. Earlier we have the in-house proxy, but now all proxy solutions are cloud-based proxy nowadays. Anyone know cloud-based proxy solutions vendors like Zscaler? Okay. We have the Prisma Access. We have some Netspoke. These are the proxy Cato different. But if I talk in-house proxy, we have the Blue Code proxy and all. So proxy basically can do the web filtering, only web filtering. Okay. What is the web filtering? That is basically if you're going for the any website, any kind of the URL. If you want to do that, you can do that all through the proxy. But nowadays, proxy, in-house proxy, you are going to find less in the industry. You are going to find more about the cloud proxy. These cloud proxy are basically replacing the firewalls, right? Replacing the firewalls, and they are giving the solutions proxy plus firewall together. And you don't have to buy the any firewall solutions for your company. And that's why the company like Zscaler and the Prisma Access, Palo Alto are rocking in the market and Netspoke is rocking in the market because customer is not required the firewalls to access any kind of the web-based destination, internal applications. They just have required the cloud-based subscription. Based on that cloud-based subscription, they can do whatever they want to do that. So proxy still is the good, right? And they are the future. That's why SASE engineer future are very bright in the market. But it's a very difficult nowadays to define firewall versus proxy. Firewall versus proxy. Firewall also can do the similar stuffs. Whatever the proxy can do that, firewall can also do that. In Palo Alto FortiGate, and trust me, in the Palo Alto, if you're going to deploy the Prisma Access solution, they're using the firewalls only. So they integrated all the features. Proxy can also do the same features, but nowadays proxy are not dedicated. They are combining with the firewall plus your web solutions about the web filtering and all. So there is no much difference. It's all about your deployment method, how you want to deploy and how much cost you want to save for the future point of view. But yes, they are almost similar nowadays if I talk about. But firewall is still going to require because proxy you cannot deploy everywhere. If you have the data centers, you have the cloud infrastructures, if you want to block the traffic based on the port numbers, custom port and all, proxy is not going to capable for that. Firewall is going to be required for that. Who asked this question? Sandeep, you asked this, right? Questions?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So I will discuss. Might be one slide is going to be there in our PPT also. This part of the agenda. Let me show you.
Hello.
Give me 1 second. 1 second. If you go here, we have one slides also. You can see firewall versus proxies. So I will talk later on. I'll give insight more about that proxy. Okay. Just for hold on, I will give some more insight on it. Sandeep, okay, feel it fine?
Yes, sir. That's okay.
Yes.
सर एक क्वेश्चन है कि जैसे सीसीएनए के सारे टॉपिक्स पढ़े हुए हैं बट बीजीपी नहीं पढ़ा और एमपीएलएस वगैरह नहीं पढ़ा हुआ है तो क्या फायरवॉल आसानी से सीख सकते हैं कि उसके लिए
What's your
वो
name,
सब
sir?
जानना
What's your
होगा?
name? What's your name?
विजय 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 सर विजय को
Vijay. Okay. Okay. So he's asking what MPLS you don't know, right? BGP you don't know, right?
यस
OSPF don't know.
यस सर वो एसपीएफ का नहीं है जीआरपी मतलब डायनेमिक राउटिंग मालूम है जो जो सीसीएनए में पढ़ा है बट बीजीपी और एमपीएलएस मतलब जो सीसीएनपी के जो जो सिलेबस है वो नहीं पढ़े हुए
ओके ठीक है तो देखो विजय बता रहा हूँ एंड एवरीवन who not understand Hindi please give me 1 second or 2 minutes to me okay see to learn the firewalls any firewall prerequisite is CCNA you can go for any syllabus for the cybersecurity fundamental prerequisite is going to be a CCNA if you not have a CCNA level knowledge you are not entitled to learn the firewalls. There is no MPLS BGP is required for the firewall learning. Even you are going to find the BGP topic in the firewall, but it is not going to be much needed in depth of the understanding of the BGP. At least you should know how to configure the BGP in the Palo Alto firewall. Even you are going to ignore that. You want to learn later on CCNP and RC, then you can just do that. That is also fine. But to learn the firewall, you are going to get completely new set of the deployment, new set of the learning, which is going to be completely based on the your basic fundamental of the CCNA, like routing, switching, VLANs, and all. And rest is going to be new for everyone and for everything. Okay, Vijay? So don't worry about this.
ओके
Okay.
Pankaj, I have a doubt
Yes.
actually.
Yes, Vinit.
Can a MPLS connection can be terminated on a firewall? That is, we have the MPBGP capability on a firewall. I mean, for the Palo Alto.
See, technically, if I talk about the MPLS circuit, right?
Yeah.
That can be terminated. Okay.
Okay.
But now we have to understand how this can be terminated. See, when you running the this kind of situations, let's suppose this is a customer router, right? C router is going to connect with the P router. So you can configure this circuit as a MPLS circuit. So you just require the BGP configuration here because you can create the BGP peering for the P can running the VRF, RD, RT, everything, and you can just terminate the circuit here. Even you want to run the static, it is also fine. But generally for the MPLS, you are going to run the BGP. And based on that BGP, you are going to do all the configuration, all the troubleshooting, and it is going to be just, make sure it is going to be good for your all configuration.
Yeah, I got the
But,
point.
but if you want to run the firewall also here, let's suppose you want to replace this router as a firewall, Palo Alto, still you can terminate your circuit, but you cannot run the MPBGP like protocol. Like if you want to run the LDP neighbor and all, it is not possible. Plain BGP you can configure here, and we have the option. I will show you how to configure the BGP, and then you can just REST MPLS is going to configure in your PE side. That is absolutely possible. Okay.
Yeah, got the. I got the answer. Yeah. So usually, when I was working for Reliance Jio in the initial part of my career, we used to give L3 VPN, L2 VPN connections, particularly to the enterprise customers. So when it comes to the L3 VPN connection, the L3 VPN connection used to terminate on the RGO router. From there, the last mile connection to the CE router will be on the normal plain BGP circuit. Actually, yeah, I got the point.
Correct. Thank you, Vinit.
Pankaj sir, जैसे as you told means that old firewall means that the वो यूज कर रहा मतलब that use SCLA and nowadays next generation firewall using the policy. So basically उसमें different क्या है? तो if you go for the configuration ना, I think both are look like same only.
No, I mentioned them. The difference is going to be like your stateless firewall only can do the inspection for the layer 2, layer 3, right? And layer 4 packets means MAC, IP, and port numbers. Okay. This is a stateless firewall. But if I talk the stateful firewall, it can do the layer 2 inspection, layer 3 inspection, layer 4 inspection, layer 7 inspections. Along with, you can do the data inspections, your content, which is known as the actual content inspection. You can do some kind of the URL filtering. You can do the device level restrictions. Okay. You
Yeah,
can
antivirus, anti-bolt, and SSL inspection.
yes.
Also, you can do the IPsec is here.
Yeah, this all IPsec also you can build it here also, right? IPsec is not a challenge. Okay. SL inspection,
And threat detection.
AD integration. So we have a lot of things to do that, right? Which you cannot do here. That is the key difference in there. Okay, clear?
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Pankaj, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, Yavanda, please go ahead.
I may have different question, but it's not related to this lesson, but related to the previous lesson. But I can be linked to this. So, what the best way, the best approach to troubleshoot the side-to-side policy? Why I ask this question? I spent all the I think Sunday. I was doing the side VPN labs, everything on, and following the video coming to the policy. The device couldn't ping, it was timed out. But I get like lost. I didn't know how to approach to capture what's going wrong. But I verified everything, it was fine.
Okay, so guys, Ivanda is like he's my old student, right? And he's doing the Palo Alto in different batch. In the same time, we are about to finish that in couple of days. So he's asking, might be it's going to be useful for everyone. We are going to discuss in this batch also sites where we've been configured. So he's asking, what is the right approach to troubleshoot the VPN? So I will take slightly few minutes to just answer his query and we'll move forward. So when see the very first thing, you have to make underlay connectivity. Okay, you have to verify underlay connectivity.
Yeah.
That is very primary. Okay.
Yeah.
Second thing, you have to make sure phase 1 config, right?
Yeah.
Third thing, you have to make sure phase 2 config, right? Fourth thing, you have to create the IP gateway, should be fine, right?
Yeah.
Fifth thing, you have to create the IPsec tunnel, but inside this tunnel, make sure tunnel interface, which you call, right, have the right configuration. Okay, clear?
Yeah.
And most important, you have the routing via tunnel interface. Okay, clear? And policy from site A to site A to site B. Okay,
Yeah.
at firewall 1, you getting my point? And same site A to site B at firewall B. Clear? This is the firewall A and this is the firewall B. You getting my point? Same policy. You're not getting this point.
Yeah. The confusion is coming from point 7.
Wait. Okay. Let me write from site B to site A at firewall B and site B to site A at firewall A. This policy is going to be a little bit confusions, right? So this sixth step is clear to you, right? This sixth step, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that step is right. Test it, ping routing, and you can ping the interface from the source up to host destination, blah, 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 everything fine in the routing fine. But from point 7, the time you try to
Okay, so let me show you what does mean. Sorry guys, just bear with one more minute, okay? Even though you just go with the video, I will talk tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow we'll discuss. See, if I'm talking about site A to site B policy, that means when you create the policy from this to this, okay? When you're creating a policy from the LAN, this PC to this PC, you have to create the one policy, same for here and same policy from here. But zone is going to be only changed. Here is trust to untrust, here untrust to trust. So two policies needed from this PC to this PC for the routing. You can just go with the video. I explain these all things. You're going to find that exactly the same thing. And once you're going to reverse from this to this, you have to create one policy, trust to untrust here, another untrust to trust here. It is going to work.
Okay, no problem. You can carry on with the lab.
With you separately, I will discuss with you. Okay.
Yeah,
Don't
I'll send you my lab, and
worry. I will troubleshoot. I will troubleshoot. Don't worry.
okay.
Okay. So guys, one thing we have to conclude it. I will take questions more. What is the why we need a firewall? What is a firewall? So basically, we discuss about we have the stateful firewall, we have the stateless firewall. But when you talk about the what is a firewall, if you just go in the internet and just search about what is a firewall. So firewall is a device which can, inspect your traffic, whether you're going to in to out. What is the in to out? This is your in to out. Means you are sitting in the office, you are going on the internet, that is going to be your in to out, or even from out to in, from the internet to LAN. So every incoming and outgoing request which is going to process via the firewall, that is going to be monitored by the firewall, and based on the restrictions, whatever the user is going to define the restriction, which traffic need to be allowed, which traffic need not to be allowed, the firewall is going to control all the things. So firewall is going to act as a security barrier, and it is going to inspect and check each and every communication you're doing via that. And if it is going to align with your company policies, take an example, you are going to enter for any kind of the society or airport, there is security check is going to be happen, and these security checks are going to make sure you are going to carry only those things which are actually allowed to in flight, allow in a flight, allow in the metro station, allow in the railway stations, or might be allowed in any kind of the public offices, malls. If anything is not allowed, you might be not going to allow to carry those things. Similarly, firewall is going to create set of rules based on the policy, based on the ACLs. Whenever any digital traffic is going to be travel, my firewall is going to make sure every transitions is going to check based on the MAC, based on the IP, based on the port, based on the URL, based on the data, based on the content. Everything is going to be checked. And if it look like everything is good, then only it is going to allow. If anything is not going to be look like good, it is going to simply block. So this is how firewall is going to be there. So you can see firewall is network security device or software. So I will discuss about software firewall and hardware firewall in the upcoming class. Okay. But to conclude it, firewall is a network security device or software that act as a barrier between a trusted internal network or untrusted external network. Means anything in the LAN that is known as a trusted, anything in the WAN that is known as a untrusted, and it's like internet, untrusted internet. It's a monitor, filter, and control incoming, outgoing traffic based on the predefined security rule. Who is going to create predefined security rule? We are going to create. So you can see these are the rules. If I just open this policy, if I go in my firewall, and you'll see that we have a lot of policy rule configure here. You can, if I go in the policy, you will see. So these are the predefined policy rule, and based on this policy rule, we can do whatever we want to do that. So this is my policies. So you have to create a policy, and based on that policy, it is going to just control the traffic. And common type, we have the firewall, hardware firewall, where we have to purchase the hardware device like this. This is my hardware firewall, Palo Alto hardware firewall. If you don't want to use this hardware firewall, you can deploy the software firewall also. So what is software firewall? This firewall is a software firewall. but they all are going to work in the similar way. It's not like something is not going to work. No, exactly whatever the hardware firewall can do that, your software firewall also can do that, because they just require the PAN OS. PAN OS having the same feature. This also requires the resource, but this virtual resource is going to be allocated from your physical servers. This physical firewall is going to be dedicated resource from the manufacturer. Means in build of this firewall, they having the all resources. But if you want to deploy the virtual firewall, they will get resource from your physical server. So I will talk about that, how this resource is going to be there. But this hardware firewall, physical device is going to be available. That is going to be give that all kind of the connectivity. Software firewall is going to be again built in the any hardware based box. It's like server, and inside you can just deploy it. Even you want to deploy in the cloud infrastructure, that is also possible. You can just deploy in the cloud as well. They come as a packet filtering firewall, stateful firewall. The packet filtering firewall is again just the basic firewall, stateless firewall that I discussed earlier. And the stateful firewall having the more connection, more kind of the sessions you're going to be do that, like they're going to maintain in states. And now we are talking about NGFW firewall. That is a stateful firewall, also NGFW, but that they are going to be advanced feature like AI driven threats. They are going to do the SSL inspection, deep inspection, which was not available in the stateless firewall also. So we have the stateful firewall and a stateless firewall. Also, stateless firewall definitely not having this all features. Stateful firewall they deployed, but also they're not having the AI integration, ML integration, deep inspection of the packet, encrypted topic decryptions. That NGFW is going to be NGFW is going to give that all kind of the solutions. Okay, so if somebody is going to ask what is a firewall, why we need a firewall? So firewall is just kind of digital barrier, and firewall. There's two terms, fire plus wall. Means if you are going to be fire, let me use some other color. Fire plus wall. So if you are going to be enter in this firewall without any protection, you are going to be killed. That's simple meaning. So you always have to take right protections, right strategy, and then you're going to be enter. Then you're going to be always good for your any kind of the communication. But if you're going to be unauthorized access, unauthorized kind of the any kind of the communications, the firewall is going to just simply kill you, just simply stop you, and you're not going to make any communications. Clear, guys? This makes sense, everyone, about the firewall, about the stateful firewall, stateless firewall. I hope everyone clear about this. Any
Yes,
question?
sir.
Yeah, Pankaj.
Okay. All right. So initially, what we're going to do that we are going to do the class in a 3 day in a week. So this week we are going to talk only 3 day in a week, because I'll give some brief Monday, Wednesday, right? And also we are going to have in the Friday. So 3 day class we're going to happen. So you guys are going to get all documentations, lab access. Not take lab access this week. I would recommend take next week. Why not lab access this week? Because initially I will discuss a lot of theoretical things. Like today I'm discussing, and let me show you some important thing. We have to understand the packet flow as well, and the SP3 architecture as well. So those are going to be completely theoretical module. So I didn't discuss about the course content. So this module one is going to be your theoretical concept. So required 1 or 2 class to complete this, because we have to understand the packet flow. We have to understand the SP3 architecture, and along with that also I will show you this. We discuss a stateful versus a stateless firewall. Now we'll discuss about the firewall versus proxy as well, and I will discuss about these things also. We have the different model of the firewalls. See here. So which model of firewall required in which scenario? So I will discuss these all things, and we'll make the good understanding about different model of the firewalls available by the Palo Alto firewall, and their roles and responsibility, their performance, their kind of the features. So I will explain these all things as well. So see you on the Wednesday, guys. All right. I hope it was a good session for everyone. At least you get some value from my side, and we'll keep doing discussion like that only in the further our sessions. All right. Thank you so much,
Uh,
guys. Yeah. Any questions? Last question that you have?
Yeah, Pankaj, for
Yes,
every
sir.
week, is it only 3 days or
No,
else
no, no. Only
within
this week.
3?
From next week onward, it's going to 5 days. Don't worry for that.
Yeah,
Initially, only
yeah,
for 3 days. Next, it's going to 5 days for the week. Don't worry about that. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. Don't
Uh,
worry. We'll do 5 day in a week.
Thank you,
All
Pankaj.
right.
I'm really
Thank
excited to
you.
learn Palo Alto
Thank you,
with you.
Vinay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vinay. Thank you for feedback. See you guys. Bye bye.